Chapter 11, World War I. A long time ago, in 1914, a big war started in Europe. This war was called World War I. Many countries were fighting, and it was a very dangerous time. Why did the war start? The war started because of problems between countries. One day, a man named Archduke Franz Ferdinand from Austria-Hungary was killed. This made many countries angry, and they started fighting. Why did the U.S. join? At first, the United States did not join the war. But in 1917, something happened that changed everything. Germany sank American ships, and the U.S. became very upset. So the U.S. decided to fight. Who fought in the war? The United States helped the Allies, which included Britain, France, and Russia. They fought against the Central Powers, which included Germany and Austria-Hungary. Many soldiers from the U.S. went to Europe to fight. The war was very hard, and many people died. But in 1918, the war finally ended. The U.S. and its friends won, and peace was made. What happened after the war? After the war, President Woodrow Wilson wanted to stop future wars. He helped create the League of Nations, a group of countries that worked together to keep peace. Key vocabulary: World War I, a big war from 1914 to 1918. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, a leader whose death started the war. Allies, countries that fought together, including the U.S., Britain and France. Central Powers, countries that fought against the Allies, like Germany. League of Nations, a group created to keep peace after the war. Chapter 12, The Great Depression. A long time ago, in 1929, something terrible happened in America. This time was called the Great Depression. The economy, how people buy and sell things, stopped working well. Many people lost their jobs, homes, and money. How did the Great Depression start? It all began with the stock market crash. The stock market is a place where people buy and sell parts of companies. In 1929, the stock market crashed, meaning many people lost all their money. Why was life so hard? Because of the crash, many businesses closed, and people could not find work. Farmers also struggled because of a big drought, a time with no rain, and their crops died. This made food very expensive. Life was very difficult during the Great Depression. Families had little food or money. People lived in shantytowns, small houses made of wood and metal. Some people traveled far just to find work. How did people stay strong? Even during hard times, people helped each other. Families shared food with neighbors. People listened to the radio for fun because it was cheap. Some went to the movies to forget their troubles for a while. Who helped America recover? In 1933, a new president named Franklin D. Roosevelt, FDR, took action. He made a plan called the New Deal, which created jobs for people, helped businesses recover, gave hope to the country. Slowly, life started to get better. Key vocabulary: Great Depression, a time in the 1930s when many people had no jobs or money. Stock market crash, when the stock market failed and people lost their money. Drought, a long time with no rain, making farming difficult. Shantytowns, small, poor houses made of wood and metal. New Deal, a plan by President Roosevelt to help America recover. Chapter 13, World War II. A long time ago, in 1939, a man named Adolf Hitler started a war in Europe. He wanted to control many countries, and soon, other nations had to fight back. This war became known as World War II. Why did the U.S. join the war? At first, the United States did not join. But on December 7, 1941, something terrible happened. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, a U.S. naval base in Hawaii. Many American ships were destroyed, and soldiers were killed. After this attack, the U.S. decided to fight. Who were the sides in the war? The Allies, countries fighting against Hitler, included the U.S., Britain, France, and the Soviet Union. The Axis powers, countries fighting with Hitler, were Germany, Japan, and Italy. How did America help the war effort? Many American soldiers were sent to Europe and the Pacific to fight. At the same time, people back home worked hard to support the war. Women worked in factories, making planes, tanks, and weapons. People grew food in victory gardens to help with food shortages. Families saved food and metal to help soldiers. How did the war end? In 1945, the war ended and the Allies won. After the war, the U.S. helped rebuild Europe and Japan. One important moment during the war was when President Franklin D. Roosevelt gave a famous speech called the Four Freedoms. He talked about 1. Freedom of speech, 2. Freedom of religion, 3. Freedom from want, having enough food and shelter, 4. Freedom from fear. These ideas helped people stay strong and fight for a better world. Key vocabulary: World War II, a big war that happened from 1939 to 1945. Adolf Hitler, the leader of Germany who started the war in Europe. Pearl Harbor, a U.S. naval base attacked by Japan in 1941. Allies, countries that fought together, including the U.S., Britain, and the Soviet Union. Victory gardens, small gardens where people grew food during the war. Chapter 14. The Civil Rights Movement. A long time ago, in the 1950s and 1960s, many African Americans in the United States did not have the same rights as white people. They could not go to the same schools, eat in the same restaurants, or sit where they wanted on buses. This was called segregation, and it was very unfair. What was the Civil Rights Movement? Many people wanted to change these unfair rules. They believed that everyone should be treated equally, no matter their skin color. This fight for equal rights was called the Civil Rights Movement. Who was Martin Luther King Jr.? One of the most important leaders of the Civil Rights Movement was Martin Luther King Jr. He was a pastor and a great speaker. He believed in peaceful protests, no violence. He gave a famous speech called, "I Have a Dream," in 1963. The "I Have a Dream" speech. In this speech, Martin Luther King Jr. talked about a future where all people would be treated equally. He said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." How did people fight for change? Many people joined marches and protests to show they wanted equality. A famous event was the March on Washington in 1963, where thousands of people came together to listen to Martin Luther King Jr. speak. People sat in restaurants where they were not allowed, refused to give up their bus seats, and marched peacefully in the streets. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. Finally, in 1964, the U.S. government passed a new law called the Civil Rights Act. This law made segregation illegal. It said that everyone must be treated equally. It was a big step toward making America fairer. Why is this important today? Even though things got better, the fight for equality is still going on today. People continue to work for fairness and respect for everyone, no matter their race, religion, or background. Key vocabulary: Civil rights movement, a time when people fought for equal rights for everyone. Segregation, when people were separated based on their skin color. Martin Luther King Jr., a leader who fought for equality and peace. Civil Rights Act, a law that made segregation illegal and helped bring equality. Chapter 15. The First Man on the Moon. A long time ago, in 1969, something amazing happened. A man named Neil Armstrong became the first person to walk on the moon. This was part of a big space project called Apollo 11, led by NASA, the U.S. Space Agency. The dream to reach the moon. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy said that America would send a man to the moon before the end of the decade. Many scientists, engineers, and astronauts worked hard to make this dream come true. The journey to the moon. On July 16, 1969, 3 astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, climbed into a rocket called Saturn V. They launched from Florida and traveled through space for 4 days. Their spaceship was called the Apollo 11 lunar module, named Eagle, landing on the moon. Finally, on July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon. He said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." These words mean that while his step was small, it was a huge moment for all people. Buzz Aldrin also walked on the moon, but Michael Collins stayed in the spaceship to make sure everything worked well. The astronauts collected rocks and took pictures to bring back to Earth. Returning to Earth. After their trip, the astronauts returned safely to Earth. People around the world watched on TV and celebrated this big achievement. It showed that humans could do amazing things if they worked together. Key vocabulary: Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon. Apollo 11, the mission that sent men to the moon. NASA, the U.S. Space Agency that works on space exploration. Saturn V, the rocket that carried the astronauts to the moon. Mankind, all people everywhere. Chapter 16. How technology changed our lives. A long time ago, people did not have computers, smartphones, or the internet. But over time, new inventions made life easier and faster. These changes are called technology advancements, and they have transformed the way we live, work, and communicate. The rise of computers. One of the biggest technology changes was the invention of the computer. The first computers were huge and could only solve simple math problems. Over time, computers became smaller, faster, and more powerful. Today, we use computers for learning, working, gaming, and communication. Even our smartphones are small computers that fit in our pockets. The power of the Internet. Another important invention was the Internet. The Internet is like a giant library that connects people all over the world. It lets us talk to friends, watch videos, and find information quickly. The Internet started in the 1960s, but became popular in the 1990s. Now, We use it every day for school, work, shopping, and fun. How we communicate has changed. Long ago, people had to write letters and wait weeks for a reply. Then came the telephone, which let people talk instantly. Later, cell phones and text messages made communication even faster. Now, with email, video calls, and social media, we can talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Smart homes and robots. Technology is also changing our homes and jobs. Smart homes let us control lights, music, and security systems with our phones. Robots help in factories, hospitals, and even cleaning our homes. Challenges of technology. While technology makes life easier, it also brings some challenges. People spend too much time on phones and computers. Some worry about privacy and safety online. But overall, technology helps us learn, work, and stay connected in amazing ways. Key vocabulary. Technology. New tools and machines that help people live better. Computer. A machine that can store information, solve problems, and communicate. Internet. A global network that connects computers around the world. Telephone. A device that lets people talk over long distances. Smart homes. Houses where you can control things like lights and security with your phone. Chapter 17. Famous Americans who changed history. America has been home to many amazing people who changed the country, and sometimes even the world. Let's meet a few of them. George Washington, the first president. George Washington was the first president of the United States. He helped America win its freedom during the American Revolution. People call him the father of his country because he did so much for America. Abraham Lincoln, the leader who ended slavery. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of the U.S. He worked to end slavery and keep the country united during the Civil War. His leadership saved America from breaking apart. Martin Luther King Jr., the voice of equality. Martin Luther King Jr. was a civil rights leader. He believed in peaceful protests to fight for equal rights. His famous speech, "I have a dream," inspired millions of people. Thomas Edison, the genius inventor. Thomas Edison was an inventor who created many things we still use today. He invented the light bulb, which gives us light at night. He also worked on the phonograph, an early device that played music. Rosa Parks, the woman who took a stand. In 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat to a white person. Her brave action started a movement to fight for equal rights. She became a symbol of courage and justice. Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. Neil Armstrong was the first person to walk on the moon in 1969. His journey into space proved that humans can achieve anything with teamwork and effort. He is remembered for his famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." These great Americans made history. These are just a few of the many famous Americans who have made history. Each of them worked hard to make life better for others. Their stories inspire us to be brave, kind, and determined to change the world for the better. Key vocabulary. George Washington, the first president of the United States. Abraham Lincoln, a president who ended slavery and kept the U.S. united. Martin Luther King Jr., a leader who fought for equal rights for all people. Thomas Edison, an inventor who made the light bulb and phonograph. Rosa Parks, a woman who stood up for equal rights by refusing to give up her seat. Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon. Chapter 18. The USA Today, a land of diversity and dreams. The United States is a big and diverse country with people from all over the world. It has 50 states, each with its own culture, food, and traditions. Let's explore some interesting parts of life in the USA today. Cities and nature, a country of many landscapes. The USA has many big cities, like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. These cities have tall buildings, busy streets, and millions of people. But the USA is also full of beautiful natural places. Some famous spots include the Grand Canyon, a deep and colorful canyon in Arizona. Yellowstone National Park, a place with geysers, forests, and wild animals. Florida and California beaches, warm, sunny beaches where people swim and relax. Food, a mix of flavors from around the world. American food is famous worldwide. Some popular dishes include hamburgers and hot dogs, classic American fast food. Pizza, a favorite meal across the country. Because the USA is so diverse, you could also find Mexican tacos, Chinese noodles, Indian curries, and Italian pasta. People from different cultures have brought their foods, making the USA a food lover's paradise. Work and school, a busy life. Many Americans work in offices, hospitals, factories, or online from home. Some even have their own businesses. Children go to school from Monday to Friday. They study subjects like math, science, history, English. School activities like sports, music, and drama are also popular. Holidays, a time for celebration. Americans love holidays. Some of the most important ones are Thanksgiving. Families eat turkey and share what they are thankful for. Independence Day, July 4th. People celebrate with fireworks and barbecues to remember America's freedom. Christmas and New Year's Eve, a time for family, gifts, and fun celebrations. Technology, a digital world. Technology is a big part of daily life in the USA. People use smartphones to call, text, and use apps. Computers for work, school, and gaming. Social media like Instagram and TikTok to connect with friends. Many people shop online, watch streaming shows, and even work remotely using technology. Diversity, a nation of many cultures. The USA is home to people from all over the world. This makes it a very diverse country. You can hear different languages like Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. See different clothes and traditions from other cultures. Enjoy different foods from every part of the world. This mix of cultures makes America a special place where people bring their traditions and create new ideas. The American Dream, a place to achieve goals. Even though life in the USA is not perfect, it is a country where people can dream big and work hard to achieve their goals. From students and workers to inventors and artists, Americans believe that with effort and dedication, anything is possible. Key vocabulary. Diverse, having many different kinds of people or things. Grand Canyon, a huge, beautiful canyon in Arizona. Thanksgiving, a holiday when families eat turkey and give thanks. Independence Day, a holiday on July 4th to celebrate America's freedom. Technology, tools and machines that make life easier. Chapter 19. Fun Facts About the USA, a Country Full of Wonders. The USA is a country full of interesting places, history, and inventions. Let's explore some fun facts that make America special. The Statue of Liberty, a gift of freedom. The Statue of Liberty is one of America's most famous symbols. It was a gift from France in 1886 to celebrate freedom and friendship. The statue stands in New York Harbor and welcomes people coming to the USA. It is 305 feet, 93 meters tall as a 22-story building. Did you know? The statue's color was originally brown, but it turned green over time because of the weather. The White House, the President's home. The White House is where the President of the United States lives and works. Every U.S. president since John Adams in 1800 has lived here. It has 132 rooms, including a movie theater, a gym, and even a bowling alley. Did you know? The White House has its own chef who prepares special meals for the president and guests. The mighty Mississippi, one of the longest rivers. The Mississippi River is one of the longest rivers in the world. It stretches 2,300 miles, 3,700 kilometers, across the USA. People use it for travel, fishing, and fun activities like boating. Did you know? The river's name comes from a Native American word meaning great river. Fast food, an American favorite. Many of the world's most famous fast food chains started in the USA, including McDonald's, Burger King, KFC. Americans love fast food and spend billions of dollars on it every year. Did you know? The first ever McDonald's opened in California in 1940. The world's largest economy. The USA has the biggest economy in the world. This means it makes and sells more things than any other country. Is home to big companies like Apple, Google, YouTube, and Amazon. Did you know? The USA invented the first credit card, which changed how people buy things. Hollywood, the movie capital of the world. Hollywood, California, is where many famous movies and TV shows are made. Every year, actors and filmmakers go to the Academy Awards, Oscars, to celebrate the best movies. The Hollywood sign, on a hill in Los Angeles, is a famous landmark. Did you know? The first Hollywood movie was made in 1910. The bald eagle, a symbol of strength. The bald eagle is the national bird of the USA. It represents freedom and power. It can fly at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, 160 kilometers per hour. It was chosen as the national symbol in 1782. Did you know? Bald eagles are not actually bald. They just have white feathers on their heads. Alaska and Hawaii, the unique states. Alaska is the biggest state in the USA. It has cold weather, mountains, and lots of snow. Hawaii is a group of islands in the Pacific Ocean. It is warm and full of beautiful beaches. Did you know? Alaska and Hawaii are not connected to the rest of the USA. The American flag, stars and stripes. The American flag is called the Stars and Stripes. It has 50 stars, one for each state. It has 13 stripes, representing the original 13 colonies. Did you know? The current flag design has been used since 1960. American inventions, changing the world. Many important inventions were created in the USA, including the light bulb, Thomas Edison's invention gave light to the world. The airplane. The Wright brothers built the first airplane in 1903. The Internet. The USA helped develop the Internet, which connects people everywhere. Did you know? The first mobile phone was invented in the USA in 1973. The USA, a land of surprises. These fun facts show how unique and exciting the USA is. From history and inventions to food and nature, there's always something new to learn about this amazing country. Key vocabulary: Statue of Liberty, a big statue in New York that symbolizes freedom. White House, the home and workplace of the U.S. President. Mississippi River, one of the longest rivers in the USA. Bald eagle, a strong bird that is the national symbol of the USA. Hollywood, a place in California where many movies are made. Chapter 20. Review and Conclusion. Our journey through American history. We've traveled through time, learning about the important events, people, and ideas that shaped the United States. Let's take a final look at what we've discovered. A quick review of what we learned. The first people. The Native Americans were the first people in America. They lived close to nature and had rich traditions. Explorers and settlers. Christopher Columbus arrived in 1492. The Pilgrims came on the Mayflower to start a new life. Becoming a country. The American Revolution helped the United States become free from Britain. George Washington became the first president. Big changes. The Civil War ended slavery and kept the country united. The Industrial Revolution brought machines and factories. World Wars and leadership. The USA helped win World War I and World War II. This showed America's strength and leadership in the world. Fighting for equality. The Civil Rights Movement, led by Martin Luther King Jr., fought for equal rights. Amazing achievements. Neil Armstrong became the first man on the moon. Inventions like computers and the Internet changed the world. Life in the USA today. The USA is a diverse country with big cities, nature, and people from all over the world. It has a strong economy, technology, and culture. Why history matters. Understanding history helps us learn from the past and avoid mistakes. Understand the world today and how it works. Appreciate different cultures, ideas, and people. Inspire us to make a better future. Your learning journey doesn't end here. This is not the end. It's just the beginning of your journey. Heavy checkmark. Keep reading, listening, and learning every day. Heavy checkmark. Practice speaking and writing in English. Heavy checkmark. Stay curious and explore more history and cultures. A special thank you. I, Ben, am so proud of you for completing this simple history of the USA. Remember, Sparkle's small steps lead to big progress. Sparkles every day, you are improving. Sparkles, your hard work will pay off. Thank you for joining me on this journey. See you soon for more fun and learning. Key vocabulary. Review. Looking back at what we have learned. Conclusion. The end of something, like a story or lesson. Confident. Feeling sure about your abilities. Progress. Moving forward and getting better at something. Final message. Keep learning and stay connected. Thank you for joining me on this amazing journey through American history. If you enjoyed this series, there's more to come. White heavy check mark like this video if you found it helpful. White heavy check mark. Comment below. Tell me your favorite chapter or what you learned. White heavy check mark. Share this with friends who want to learn history and improve their English. White heavy check mark. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. This is just the beginning. Let's keep learning together. See you in the next video.